Hey productizers, in this lesson we'll talk about how to name your company. Names are actually pretty important, especially when you focus on a niche, but unless you have some initial money to invest, you'll have to search for an available domain name, which can be limiting. However, with a good naming convention, you can find some great available domains for your brand. So first, let's set some guidelines as to what makes a good domain name. You want 2 words max. Anything more than that is going to be too hard to tell someone and not nearly as brandable. You also want to try and limit it to 3 syllables max. You can be a little bit more flexible here, but again, more than 3 syllables and it becomes harder to tell someone the name. You also want to find an available domain, and that's a .com domain. And I'll show you how to easily find available domains in a second. But beyond an available domain, you probably want to find a name with available account names in Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Although that's not as important, that should be part of your calculus. And finally, you want it to be topical. Choose a name that will make sense to the niche that you're targeting. So I have 2 tools that I like to use when I'm trying to find a domain name. The first one is called domize.com. And this one gives you kind of a live feed of whether or not the domain is available, and we'll show you a bunch of different extensions. So for example, if we type in my domain, you can see that it'll tell you, okay, the .com is taken, the .co, but the .org is available. So if we wanted mydomain.org, we could go and buy that. We could also go into the options here and choose different extensions. So this one is really cool, and it's a quick way to find available domain names if you just want to check a domain real quick. The next tool that I like to use is called Demeter.com. And so this one, it allows you to list some beginning words and some ending words, and then you can combine them and it'll tell you which combinations of those words are available. And so for this, I've already put in some different words for a brand name, agency name for a food truck web design business. So if we combine them, so we got like foodie, food, truck, diner, motor, and page, pages, site, etc. So if we combine them, you can see that there are 22 available combinations. And so now if we go through and look at these available domain names, we can see if we like any of these. And I kind of like Yum Sites or Foodie Engine. I think either of those is a pretty good brand name for a food truck web design company. So take some time now to try and figure out a name for your company. And when you're ready, join me in the next lesson where we'll talk about branding your company. See you there.